Is it in the?
All right. Welcome to the November 9th, 2023 meeting of the Decatur Architecture Review Board. I will call roll with each member answering present. Barbara Kelly.
Present.
Lynn Schubert.
Present.
Bill Stone.
Present.
Ella Chenault has an excused absence. I'm Jacob Woods, the board chair, and we have a quorum present. Dr. Swope is the city's preservation specialist. Thank you to everyone who is attending today. Your involvement in this Commission's proceedings is vital to the effectiveness of this process. There's a copy of the agenda out front if you would like one. Historic district designation means your neighborhoods have been recognized by the United States government, the state of Alabama, and the city of Decatur as being architecturally or historically significant to our community. Historic districts are not created to prevent changes, but rather to ensure that the proposed changes are appropriate to the individual property and the districts as a whole. The board's responsibility is to review the appropriateness of all proposed changes. Each historic resource within the district is assessed on its own individual merits, what is appropriate for one property may not be appropriate for another based on a resource's age, location, neighboring properties, and stylistic details. The Architecture Review Board's rulings are based on written standards and regulations that guide our review and decision-making. These guidelines and the Commission's decisions have the force of the city ordinance. You can access our guidelines along with application forms on the city's website. Our hearing process is as follows. Staff will present the applications. When they read your name and property address, please be prepared to come to the podium. Staff will present the application and staff assessment of each request. When staff is finished presenting the application item, the applicant and or designated representative will then state their name and address and provide any additional information or comments regarding that application item. The board will ask clarifying questions of the applicant at this time. Next, we will hear any public comments on that particular application item only. After public comment has closed, the chair will entertain a motion and the board will discuss and dispense of that application item. Staff will then proceed to the next application item and so forth. An approved Certificate of Appropriateness, or COA, will be issued in the form of an email that's copied both the applicant and the building department approximately 1 week after this hearing. The document will outline and reaffirm what was approved and that the project has been approved. A COA must be issued before a building permit can be obtained. If any changes to your project are anticipated after the COA is issued, it is the responsibility of the homeowner to contact staff, and she will help guide you. In some cases, you may be required to submit the changes for review and issuance of a new COA. If your project is denied and you are not issued a COA, you will be issued a letter stating the reasons for denial and additional information. Denied COAs will be sent via certified mail to the property owner's address, filed with the Morgan County Revenue Commissioner's Office. You may resubmit an application with revised plans at a future meeting. There is an approval process for denied COAs as well, which is spelled out in the municipal ordinance under section 1825 and 1892. After all applications are heard, the commission will entertain general comments from the public, limited to 3 minutes per individual. All right, the first item of business is approval of the minutes from the September 14th, October 5th, 2023 minutes.
Jacob, missed that one.
Huh?
I missed that one, thank you.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Who's first on that, was that Bill?
Bill was the motion.
All right, fast track COAs since the October meeting. 222 Church for a new roof, 502 Walnut for new sections of roofing and rafters, 702 Line for fence repair and replace, and 646 Sherman for repairing kind with a porch roof. So it's clearly roofing season. The first COA tonight is 213 Cherry. That is for Mr. Ryan. The background on this, it is a colonial revival house in Old Decatur Historic District. It is a contributing building within the district, and the action requested is a 2-car garage addition to this house. And I will because we have a map up here. You know, historically, the commission looks at rear access, but there is no alley on this property, and there is an existing driveway on this property. So this is the house. Design review standards 22.0, new construction outbuildings. The design of new outbuildings should be compatible with the associated dwelling and architectural style and scale, and they're referring to garages on this. Locate next to the rear of the dwelling are set back from side elevations. Attached garages and accessory buildings should be set back from the front facade of the primary dwelling and at least 1/2 of the total depth of the dwelling. 22.4, the outbuilding should maintain a proportional mass, size, and height to ensure it is not taller or wider than the principal building on the lot. 22.5, the materials used for new outbuildings should complement the property. Wood and brick are most appropriate for new secondary building. For new frame building, alternative siding may be considered if they resemble traditional wood siding in texture, dimension, and overall appearance. Avoid materials such as plywood and OSB. 22.6, designing the eaves and roof ridge of any new outbuilding higher than those of the existing primary building is not appropriate. 22.7, windows visible from the public right-of-way should be appropriate to the style of the house. Visible pedestrian doors should resemble those on the primary dwelling or be solid with no panels. 22.8, metal garage doors with panel design may be appropriate. These doors can be used on garages if located at the back of the lot and are minimally visible from the street. If the garage and garage doors are highly visible from public street or located on a corner lot, or wood garage doors with panel design are more appropriate. And 22.9, two-car garages should have 2 bay doors of the same size, not one large door. This design reduces the size of the new garage in relationship to the primary dwelling. So this is the elevation. There is the existing driveway. This is a site plan. So this is the existing house. The blue is the proposed addition. So there is a hyphen with a 2-car garage. This is when they had originally looked at doing a freestanding garage, but as you can see, it is problematic on this particular lot. It also is far more visible from the street. So this is the final schematic, which is pushing it over to the rear of the house. And you can see that this facade here, the addition facade, is pushed behind this elevation, the historic elevation. So it's not as visible. Let's see, staff findings. The proposed addition appears to maintain proportional mass, size, and height, and is not taller or wider than the main portion of the house. Materials are ones that have been accepted for garages and new construction within the district. Primary eaves and ridgeline are not higher than that of the main portion of the house. Windows appear to match those on existing residents. Metal garage doors are proposed because the garage is located at the rear of the lot and is minimally visible from the street. 2 bay doors are used per the standards instead of a single large door. The main house has, I've got a few more views. So this is sort of a computer generated view, and you're not even seeing the garage here really. There's a little sliver there. You come at it this way, you see a little bit of it right here. And the only person that would have this view would be from the neighbor's backyard because it's sort of taken from that vantage point, but that does show you full elevation. So here's the hyphen, here's the garage. They are proposing a smooth hardy plank for the little bit of siding on the garage and the hyphen, and that is because there is a wood siding in these areas and they're going to pick that up. It would not be possible to match the existing brick, and standards do indicate some differential with new addition. For the shingles, the main house has asbestos shingles that cannot be matched in shape or design. The commission might remember very recently we actually looked at one of those cases. So the applicant is proposing a GAF timberline shingle in Appalachian sky color to match the existing roof as closely as possible. These are sort of the 2 possible garage doors that they are looking at right now, and the hardware is optional. It can be added or not. This is a detail of the window that is being proposed. So it is a simulated divided light, putty, 5/8 putty. There is trellis over the garage, and that is what you have right here, has no historic precedent in the district and is a contemporary feature. So the board should address if adding this design detail is appropriate for the addition, and if so, under what future applications it would be considered appropriate, or if there are instances where it would not be considered appropriate. So whatever the vote is on the trellis portion, it just needs to be clear what makes it acceptable or not acceptable for this specific house, because that is one that is not, it's a little nuanced in our design review guidelines. And those are all the staff findings on this. Did you have questions on this one?
I guess, what's the reasoning for the trellis?
All right, I'm gonna let Patrick, we will have you up at the microphone. So Patrick is the designer that's been working very closely on this, and so I will let him answer those questions.
Okay, so I appreciate you guys considering the request. The trellis was there just as a way to soften that side of the house. There's a pergola on the back that, again, would not have been original, but at some point over time was added. You can't really see it from the street. So this is one of the key things that I wanted your expertise on. If you thought that was a good addition, or if you'd rather not have it on there, but it was added to kind of soften that, and you know, do a Jackson vine on there to give it a little bit of age.
I guess my only concern with it is you can see it if you're walking from Line Street to Oak Street. I don't know what y'all think about. Can we, if we approve this, would we be saying you can put it on something that might be a little more visible, because it is visible? That's the
Sure.
only thing.
And we're totally good with whatever you guys recommend. That was one of the things that really we needed your expertise on.
Well, yeah, like everything else, you can't see it, and I think.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate the, just the effort that's gone in with the information that you've presented to us, because it kind of gives us a clear picture. I mean, a lot of times we see a lot of hand-drawn things, and it's kind of hard to get a picture of what's going on. And I think, first of all, I mean, I really appreciate that. I know in the past on the pergolas, like you were saying, a lot of those have been done in the backyard, where we've allowed them in spots where you can't see it from the street vantage. I think that's the only thing I would kind of agree with you on that, that it's, you can see it when you're walking, for sure. Driving, since it's one way, you really don't see a view of it. And I mean, I never knew that existing pergola was even there, because it's hidden in the backyard. You can't see it. I'd try to look at maybe a different method of trying to
Okay,
solve.
so maybe take that pergola, or take that off of there?
Or just something different. I don't
Okay.
know if, I don't,
And more matches, I mean, I think Caroline can
Okay.
help see what might match better that would go, you know, I don't know, that's my only concern with it
Okay.
is the precedent that we'd be setting, and how more can you see it, you know, if you,
Right.
if you move, you know, I can see it a little bit better, you know, how do we say?
I think it can come off and the house still look gorgeous back there. So if it's okay with you guys, we'll just take that off.
Okay.
One thing you can do is add, you can still use your Jackson vine if you want to. We used to on the front of my house, back when we had more labor available, just with,
With a chain?
Well,
or,
I don't think, we didn't have a chain. We just, I guess we had little attachments. Would that be anything wrong with like having a little?
Now, with Jackson vine, you can use a chain that's on hooks so that it can be unhooked and peeled off when it has to be painted, which will be much appreciated by the painters.
Yeah.
It's just keeping up with the Jackson vine, because it's second cousin to kudzu.
So that's-
So it bites back.
Okay.
But, yeah, that's something that, and they wouldn't even need a COA for that. That would just be
Okay.
something, it's a
Yeah, that's
small
great.
landscaping.
Easier maintenance and still gets that soft look back there.
So that would just be, you would just amend the COA if you're going to do that, to accept minus the trellis, and that would be the motion.
Okay.
I don't have any problem with the roof. Roof looks good, like the door choices. We don't control paint color, but all that looks good
Yeah.
as well.
Ready for a motion?
Yeah,
Okay,
do you want to do it?
Oh, you can do it. I'll make it. I'll make a motion that we amend the COA, or approve the COA as amended to not do the trellis, but everything else looks fine. Anything else I need to add to that?
I think that's good.
Okay.
So amending the COA to accept as proposed minus the trellis component.
Okay.
So
Second.
then, do we have a second?
We have a second from
Oh,
Mr. Stone. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next up, we have 423 Church Street Northeast. That is the Thomas's house. It is for demolition in Old Decatur, circa 1924 house. So the house is located within the Old Decatur Historic District. It is a contributing building. The action requested for this is demolition. And you can see it's a slightly irregular lot. It's not quite a rectangle. It tucks back in here at this rear corner, and it's a fairly large lot. Historically, there likely was another house here at one point that has since been removed. The design review standards, 28.0, demolition of buildings. The Architectural Review Board can require a 180-day delay on a demolition to ensure all possible alternatives are considered. Exterior of the building. Staff findings, the building was condemned on October 9th by the city as being unsafe structurally with an unstable foundation, unfit for human occupancy, lacks maintenance, is maintained in an unsanitary condition, and lacks proper sanitary facilities as required. And that's listed, you have the condemnation notice in your packet, so that's taken from the condemnation notice. So this is the front, and you can see the front porch. There is no solid decking here. This is plywood, but it is spongy. It was added later. And then this is the foundation for the porch here. It has asbestos siding, so you can see there's certainly some long-term damage here and some holes here, but asbestos siding, of course, holds up quite well normally. It's what is under the asbestos that can be challenging. Rear.
Do we have
I
anything to
did
do?
not fully go in the house. I had concerns for safety when I entered. But this is right when you open the door, so what you're looking at are straps to hold the cabinet up against the wall because the floor has completely collapsed here. This is the kitchen area. I cannot speak to the rest of the house. The commission has historically reminded applicants that the lot must be leveled with no trace of driveway, foundation, etc. remaining on the lot. Additionally, they have reminded the applicant that all new construction, and that includes fencing, driveways, buildings, landscaping plans, must have an approved COA before construction starts on a vacant lot.
Do we have anybody here?
We might.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to come answer questions if they have questions? And I don't think I have your name, so let me get it.
Rebecca Lackey,
Okay. Thank you. How do I spell L-A-C?
K-E-Y.
Thank you. Sure. All right, I'll have you up there. And Rebecca, because the commission wasn't sure if Mr. Thomas would be here. You are,
I'm related to the family and work for the family business.
okay.
I'm just a little concerned that it's demolition by neglect, basically, is what it looks like to me.
I know, I don't know, I know it had been it had been occupied,
Yeah.
and there were some attempts, I think, for many years for it to not be occupied. I just really can't speak to that truthfully.
How long ago owned the structure?
I
Not sure
cannot,
about that either.
I'm not a very good representative, obviously,
Yeah.
so I don't, it's been some time, yes.
It's just hard because we've lost quite a few houses in the district lately from trees falling and different things, you know, and all, as the houses go away, you kind of lose that historic quality. You know, all these, you get more holes in the neighborhood and, you know, so the longer we can hold on to these houses, the better it is, so.
Not that one.
It's important to, I mean, it's important to
So it's
try
in
to
pretty bad
keep these
shape.
structures from not being torn down. So, I mean, if you own them, if you have them, if you have multiples, I mean, it's good to try to spend the time to keep the house in good shape so that we don't get to the spot where we have to tear it down and it's been condemned.
I'm not sure we want to wait on a 180-day.
I mean, looking at it, it's,
I'm thinking,
You had asked, and I looked, the tax records show this in the family from at least the early 1990s, early to mid-90s. So they've owned it since then. And it was a rental up until, I believe, at least the spring, because he had me, I was on the site earlier this year. And they were doing it.
those are not good conditions to be living in. So I'm assuming there's no attempt to try to fix it or repair it cost-wise. I guess due to the being condemned by the city, I don't see a whole lot. Just through life safety and welfare of people in the house, if there's no repair that's gonna be done, and with the condemnation, I don't know what else can be done.
yeah, I guess I make a motion to approve the demolition. But I guess you said we've reminded applicants, and if you can relay this to Mr. Thomas, that when he goes about it, the lot's got to be leveled. I don't think there's a driveway in it.
I don't think there is one, if I remember right.
Foundation, in other words, it can't just be left as a pile of rubble.
Okay,
You know, I guess if so, maybe the city's got some means to fine, but, and that whatever else he chooses to do with that needs a new COA. He has to file for a certificate of appropriateness. So, is that a motion?
And the commission can find
Okay.
if they level it and leave materials
Leave
on,
material, okay.
because that's work without a COA.
Uh,
Do we have a
Barbara.
motion, do we have a second?
Yeah.
We have a question.
Do we,
Barbara has a second?
Oh, no,
Did you
no,
second?
I thought we had a question from the audience.
we
but
do.
go ahead.
do we
That's fine.
want to
I'm
hold?
gonna go to discussion.
Is there,
Hand up back here.
Yeah. Do I have any public comments? Public comment.
we'll need you to come up.
If you could come up this way, that would be great.
Sorry, we really can't hear you back there. So are you asking to have it torn down on behalf of Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
I'm here representing.
And they're asking for it to come down, as I understand.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think I heard you say that the lot has to be leveled.
Mhm.
He also owns the lot next door, and I guess they're probably gonna combine them maybe. But that property backs up to the back of our apartments, and there's a lot of stuff stored in the very back of that property that we would hope would also come off.
Yeah, I mean, with the houses gone, then there's nothing there.
Well,
You
there's
have to
just
clean
a
it
lot
all
of
off.
junk back
Yeah.
there
It'll all have to be
that is
cleaned
up
off.
against
Do we
our
have-
fence. So,
Any control over that?
But that would be code compliance with
Okay.
development.
so the whole lot would be cleared, is what you're saying?
I would think the city would require that, because I don't think they were gonna
I
require,
don't think we can say
I don't,
Okay.
to do that, but I would agree with it. rather
Okay.
than just leave a pile of junk that you can see from the street. We don't need any more of that in Old Decatur.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, thank you for pointing it out.
And I have a comment that came in, this was from Ellis, he could not be here this evening, but he sent me this to read. Quote, I always feel a property can and should be saved, whether contributing or not. It just takes money and a good architect plan. I just hate to lose the beauty of these old properties. That said, I do recognize there are circumstances that restoration just isn't feasible for one or more reasons, so I would not object to this COA.
All right.
So we have a motion for demolition by Lynn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Barbara? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right. COA accepted.
You're-
That is it for the agenda this evening.
Okay.
Just to clarify, when you said no, you meant there was no.
I voted no to tear it down.
Oh, you voted no to tear it down. I missed
That's
that.
what I was just looking at him, what did you do?
I was just wondering, I wanted to clarify,
Thank you.
when you said any no, I didn't know if you meant no, there weren't, or no.
That's what I heard, was no, there weren't any, but you said
No,
you,
but you-
okay,
Okay.
I was saying no.
okay.
Of course, we can only delay it for 180 days.
That's 180 days.
Okay,
Look at that.
all right, that is it for the agenda. Anything else, Jacob, or motion to?
I did not have any other comments. Anybody else?
Are we ready for a motion to adjourn? I'm so moved.
Second?
Second? All those in favor?
Everybody's looking at Bill. Bill's second.